Welcome to the NBA Pub Hub, Pub Sports Radio, Friday, January 13th. Ian Cameron, Skee Prophet, Billy Briz ready to break it down for this Friday. In the NBA, we've got a grand total of 9 games on tap. Let's get to it. We'll start with Hawks, Pacers, Atlanta, Indiana. Atlanta, 2-point road favorites, 238 the total in this one. The Atlanta Hawks, it looks like after missing the last game against the Milwaukee Bucks, we will see Trae Young back tonight in fate for the Hawks in this game after being ill the other night, non-COVID illness. He was back at practice yesterday, should be good to go tonight in this game for the Hawks. Looks like Clint Capella, though, anticipating a return, but still out for the Hawks. On the Pacers side of things, a little bit banged up tonight, no question about that. The big one, of course, Tyrese Halliburton, who will miss tonight's game for the Pacers, out at least 2 weeks. Left elbow, left knee bruise, both suffered in the loss to the New York Knicks. And certainly my Indiana bet took a turn for the worse that night against New York as soon as that happened. So obviously, you saw the impact that made on that game. Clearly a loss that is a big one for the Pacers. Miles Turner, a game-time decision as well for the Pacers. He's also a guy that did not play, last-minute absence against New York and is questionable with back spasms tonight. So keep an eye on Turner's status here tonight for Indiana as well. I definitely have a lean to Indiana, although they miss Halliburton and they will miss him. I know I don't want to lay points on the road with Atlanta. I know that. But do I want to get there with Indiana? It didn't make me too happy the other night with the way they played against the Knicks. Although, again, Tyrese Halliburton gets hurt and kind of throws everyone for a loop. And they didn't really, respond initially. But then the Knicks almost did their second half collapse, antics again, and brought Indiana back into that game. And they were lucky to hang on for the win and the point spread cover. But yeah, even with the injuries and the question marks for Indiana, and Turner is one of them as well, I don't want to lay points with Atlanta. I'm not crazy about taking Indiana, but the lean right there is still Pacers as a home dog. What do you think, Skee, Atlanta and Indiana?
Yeah, I like the Pacers side. First game after the superstar goes down, I think, everybody steps up and shows, we still can play. And Atlanta hasn't been a good team on the road all season. They are 8-13 straight up and against the spread. And Pacers, they've won 8 of their last 11 games. So I still want to rock with that side. Nembhard, he's a baller. I always talk about how much, I like the way he plays. And we've seen him step up when Halliburton missed before. And McConnell, he can play make and get everybody involved and do what he needs to do at the point guard position as well. So I like the Pacers side here, plus the points at home. Only way I can look. And when they come out with the props for Nembhard, I'll probably look to play on him as well.
Yeah, he's a steady hand. I mean, he can play, he can dish the ball, he can score a little bit. He's not a bad defender. He can do some things, TJ McConnell. So you're right. And Andrew Nembhard, we know what a great career he had, obviously, at Gonzaga in college. He's a good player. It's a question of, is he ready to take on this bigger responsibility at the professional level? I think he is. He played well the last game, and he's played well this season now. And you're right, that angle of everybody stepping up when a key player is out is in play tonight with Indiana, if you like that side. What do you think here, Billy Briz, Atlanta, Indiana?
Yeah, like Skee's Nembhard angle for sure. I Pacers first game without Halliburton. I get the whole theory of everybody steps up, they end up winning the game, but I feel like he just accounts for too much of their team's offensive production, just scoring, passing, just everything. It's just going to be a little bit weird to see how that usage balances out. I don't think they have like a solid second man that they know that they're going to go to, or something like that. So I think it's going to be a different looking type of Pacers team. But I mean, they're 5-1 ATS last 6 home games, 6-2 last 8 overall. So they're playing good basketball. Definitely better basketball than what the Hawks have been playing. Talent-wise, the Hawks are going to have the more talented team on the floor. But with their recent inside turmoil and stuff like that, just this isn't like a bet-on situation for me for the Hawks. So I probably pass side-wise. One prop that's popping out for me is Ikeke Okongwu over 1.5 blocks. He's had 2+ blocks in 10 out of his last 14 games without Clint Capella. So that's at plus money. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind playing that if you're into those type of things.
Best props, doesn't matter hockey, basketball at this time of year. It's the players getting more ice time, court time, minutes, responsibility, moving up the lineup. That's the best way to put it. You can take advantage of those great situations, no doubt. All right, next up, we've got New York and Washington. New York, 4.5 point road favorites, 222. The total in this game. The Knicks coming off that aforementioned win against Indiana, but again, Pacers, have the shock of losing Halliburton during the game. Although that being said, if you look at this Knicks team, we know what happened against Milwaukee. They couldn't close the deal with a lead. They almost blew it against Indiana the other night as well, too. So I'm not really rushing to lay the points on the road with the Knicks at this point in time. Again, a team that's struggling to play good, strong 48 minutes start to finish. All that being said, buyer beware if you're going to look at the Washington side. They are a banged up team right now. Porzingis game time decision, Monte Morris point guard game time decision, Daniel Gafford same thing, Bradley Beal still out. So it's going to be interesting to see if all of these players suit up for the Wizards. That being said, they had a lot of these guys out the other night as well against Chicago, and they still won and covered 100-97. It was very admirable effort from Washington considering who was out of the lineup. But can they do that again for a second straight game if all these guys are missing? If they get Porzingis back, obviously he'd be fired up as he usually should be to face his former team. But they at least get one or two of these guys back. I'd maybe get involved with Washington, but I'm kind of waiting to see who's exactly going to be on the floor for the Wizards. I lean to the Washington side at least, but I need more clarity who's going to be in. What do you think here, Skee? Knicks, Wizards?
Yeah, maybe play on Porzingis, his double-double or points and rebounds or something like that. But other than that, I would be looking for the total to go under. The Knicks playing at the slowest pace the last 5 games, still a top 10 defensive rated team in that span. And, neither team, both teams, bottom 10 shooting a 3 so far this season, and Knicks the second best team defending it. So I like all of that. Looking at what they're doing the last 2 weeks, they combine an average a little bit under 219 points, which gets us under the total that we're looking at today. So I'll rock with the under in this matchup.
All right, Skee, liking a low-scoring game here, liking the under. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, the Knicks have been playing good basketball on the road, 24-7 ATS last 31 road games and 13-6 ATS last 19 games overall. And I feel like the Knicks have been one of the best teams to back early first quarter and first half. They usually piss away the games usually at the end, but they usually get up and by halftime. But shouts to it's Darryl. He always talks about the Wizards are one of the best first quarter over teams to bet on. So just by the chance that they do come out hot, we'll go with the Knicks first half here, -2.5. It's going to be a play on my card. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Knicks best first half covering team.
All right, there we go. First half. Yeah, you don't want them full game. You want this team early, the way they've been going lately. New Orleans and Detroit. Pelicans, 5.5 point road favorites, 234.5 the total here in this one. In theory, bounce back situation for the Pelicans. They obviously fell short against Boston. 125-114 in their last game, an 11-point loss. Again, the over cashes, and I was on the Pelicans, but also the over, so we got a split in that game. Defensively, they've definitely struggled in that one, and it's not all that shocking they did. Part of the reason why I like points in that game was the fact that Herb Jones was absent. You're talking about, a guy that can be a pretty solid defender for this team. Let's see if he's in there tonight. He's questionable right now for this game against Detroit. Back issues for him. So keep an eye on that. Pistons, 135-118. They came back and they ended up blowing out Minnesota, 135-118 in that game. It was a weird situation where Anthony Edwards got injured during the course of that game, and that's when really things started to unravel, if you will, for the Timberwolves in that matchup against Detroit. Detroit's also been trending over 5 of the last 6 games. So I know I definitely like points to be scored here in this game, even more so if Herb Jones is a no-go once again for the New Orleans side. But I still like over in this game. If Herb's in, I probably will add New Orleans to the card because I do think they're in a solid situation here after the loss against Boston. But I'm holding off on the side. I do like points. Pistons, it's worth noting, they don't play until Sunday, and the Pelicans don't play until Monday at Cleveland. So It's pretty much empty the tank time off a loss here against Boston. I think they take care of business, but I'll feel better about potentially laying the points on the road with New Orleans if we see Jones in there. And I do like the over. What do you think here, Skee, New Orleans and Detroit?
My bad. Yeah, I like the over. And just looking at the last 2 weeks, they combined 11-5 to the over. And if you look at the home and road splits, combined 6-1 to the over. If you look at home and road splits so far on the season, 29-11 to the over. When these totals are high in Detroit games, when they're at home, they're high for a reason. I've been looking at it going all the way back to 2019, totals of greater than 220 at home for Detroit, 34-15 to the over, 69.4%, and they've cashed 13 of the last 17 overs that have been that high at home. So it's the only way I can look here. They're playing at the fourth fastest pace the last 5 games, and both teams bottom 10 defensive rated teams the last 5 games. So over 234. If you line shop, there's still some out there. That's the one I went with.
I agree. I think that's the best way to go in this one is the total. Like I say, I have some interest in New Orleans, but only if I know they've got Herb in there in particular. Zion, we know he's probably out again, but Herb Jones is the guy that really makes them a better defensive team. What do you think here, Billy?
Shouts to Moose Money, man. He says it perfectly, man. Pistons have only won back-to-back games once this year. I doubt the Pistons are going to come out here and repeat the performance that they had in their last game. And it just feels like a spot where I think the Pelicans are probably going to cover here 8-2 ATS last 10 meetings in Detroit. I lean towards them pulling out the dub here despite their recent form. But prop market in this game, CJ McCollum, man, over 26.5 points, -118. He's gone over 4 out of his last 5 games. It's very hard to ignore his production right now, especially going up against the Pistons, man. And 234 over under. My guy Skee's talking about the over is going to hit. Hey, if the over is going to hit, CJ's got to be shooting those buckets. If it's not him, it would probably be Najee Marshall. So those would be the 2 guys that I'd probably look at. I would probably tell you on this, if we get Stewart and Duren out of the lineup for the Pistons again and Nerlens Noel is out there starting center, man, I think I might be hopping on that over with you. I think, man, some of these totals, 147 points against the Sixers and 118 against the Timberwolves. I mean, they're allowing a lot of points right now without any centers down there. So I definitely don't blame you on the over.
All right, next up here, a special game, if you will, in our home base here of Pub Sports Radio, San Antonio, AT&T Center. It is Golden State.
Prime time too.
Yeah, exactly. Primetime. Golden State and San Antonio here. A neutral court is what they've got it listed as, but essentially, Alamo Dome is where we'll be here. Golden State, 8.5-point road favorites. Total 243 in this one. Can they make this total any higher? Well, if you look at the Spurs, I've been riding this team over the total, and I am again, but at some point, what point is it get to the point where it's too high? I don't know if we're there yet. I mean, I know it's 243 is where this total is right now, but when you look at the last game against Memphis, we saw 264 points scored in that game. They've been flying over this number. Now, a lot of these have been in the 230s, so we're really asking for a lot of points here in this game. But even Golden State's gone over in 3 of the last 4. So, I am going to stick with it in terms of over the total, even though the number's getting high. I ain't ready to lay 8.5 with Golden State. The side's tricky because Golden State's been flat out pathetic on the road. Everybody knows that this year. 3-16 straight up, 4-15 against the spread this year. Golden State. But the fact remains they didn't even show up in their last game, which took place Tuesday night against the Phoenix Suns. I mean, that was the Phoenix B team, essentially, going into Golden State and destroying the Warriors by 12, leading wire to wire, with Golden State 12.5-point favorites losing outright. That's not the kind of loss you would expect Golden State to take lightly, that they're going to want to bounce back and play better. And it looks like they're full bore tonight. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney expected to be the starting 5 for the Warriors, but there's no way I'm laying 8.5 with a team that's been this pathetic on the road. I mean, they've got to show it to me here. And the one thing you can say about San Antonio is there's a special kind of game for them. with the crowd, they're expecting 60,000+, according to our guy behind the scenes, Vic here, who produces the show, talking about how great the crowd's going to be. Yeah, exactly. So that's got to fire up this young, not great, but young, hard-trying, hard-effort San Antonio team. And that's what they've been lately. They've been a very hard-trying team. That's why they've covered 5 in a row. 3-point loss at New York, beating Detroit. 5-point loss to Boston, 8-point loss at Memphis, 6-point loss in the rematch at Memphis. They haven't been a team that's been blown out lately, San Antonio. And Golden State's got to show they can put a really good performance together on the road before I'm ready to lay this many points. I'd take San Antonio, honestly, before I take Golden State, but I'm not sure I'm going to play the side. I do like this game over the total. What do you think here, Skee? Warriors, Spurs.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job on that one. There's no way in hell I'm laying the points with the Warriors here on the road. They have won 3 games, and now they're expected to win by double digits. That's absolutely not. And the Spurs, they've done nothing but put money in your pocket if you've been backing them game in and game out lately. So I'll go ahead and grab the 9 points that they're given, and I'll see him at the window later. I also like Jakob Poeltl over his 9.5 rebounds. He's averaging 10.3 rebounds versus bottom 10 rebounding teams. That would be Golden State. So Jakob Poeltl over 9.5 rebounds and Spurs +9.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, last 2 times San Antonio's hosted Golden State, the Warriors won those games by 6 points or less. They won both games by 6 points or less. They were competitive games. Yeah, this is, I think, a big deal for San Antonio. I really do. I mean, it's a unique environment. I think it's something they're going to relish, playing in this kind of atmosphere tonight. It is. It's like a champion. They don't have any championships to strive for this year, San Antonio. So this is essentially like a championship game for them. It's going to feel like it. And I know, Skee, you've mentioned that angle before. When a team that played a team previously, the most recent meeting, they get destroyed, and that was ugly. Golden State beat San Antonio 132-95. It was a 37-point beatdown the last time these teams played. I think long-term, you've said this in other games in the past on this show, a team that's playing another team for the first time since getting beaten down by like 20, 30, 40 points by that team often responds and doesn't forget a loss like that. So maybe we get that, Skee, from San Antonio tonight. Do you think that might be the case?
Absolutely. You always remember when you get a beat down like that. I still remember to this day the worst game that I lost in like a official game. So you don't forget it, especially when it's been recent. So I'm in agreement.
Even from a bettors and a handicapper's perspective, I remember the games where I took the team, -3 and they lost by 4 touchdowns in a football game. That's not a fun feeling. I want to respond after that. Exactly. What do you think here, Billy Briz?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, Warriors have the worst road cover rate in the whole entire league. They're only covering 21% of their away games, 4-15 ATS on the road this season, and 1-7 as a road favorite. I mean, that's just not something you want to back. And despite the Spurs being 3-7 straight up, they're 8-2 over your last 10 games ATS. So, I mean, you got to put the Spurs in the points in your pocket, man. I mean, if you want to be that guy, sprinkle the money line +300, have yourself a little party on a Friday night, man. You can do that. Prop wise, though, going into the prop market, I like Stephen Curry over 4.5 3-pointers -115. In his first game back on Tuesday, man, he shot 5 for 15 from 3-point range versus the Suns. He covered the prop, but honestly, I thought there was a lot of room for improvement at that rate. San Antonio ranks dead last in NBA opponent 3-point shooting percentage, allowing teams to make 40% of their 3-pointers. So Steph Curry's going to go up and over that 3-point total tonight, 4.5 3-pointers. Haven't made anything too official in this game, but I'm a little bit stuck between just slamming that Curry prop or taking the Spurs, sprinkling the money line and grabbing some plus the points. But those would be my 3 bets in this game.
All right, Phoenix and Minnesota now. We've got Minnesota 5-point home favorites, 222. Look, I get why they're betting Minnesota. Phoenix has a B squad going right now. Although DeAndre Ayton looks like he's going to play. That's the one guy that looks like he's going to be upgraded and be in the lineup tonight for Phoenix. So that's good news on that front. But really, other than that, Booker out, Chris Paul out, Cam Payne out, Cam Johnson out. So still very, very thin. And look, we talked about it on Wednesday's show. The B squad of Phoenix, the backups, shocked Golden State. But we warned you against Denver the other night on the back-to-back. don't be fooled by that Golden State performance. That was a one-off. That's not going to carry over into the Denver game. I was worried about it not carrying over, and sure enough, they got walloped by Denver the very next night. The same B squad for the Phoenix Suns after beating Golden State, 12.5-point dogs, winning outright 125-113 against Golden State. They lose by 29, 126-97 the very next night against Denver. So now the question becomes, which one was it? Are they going to play closer to the Golden State performance or closer to the Denver performance tonight, this team? We'll have to see. I just don't know if I trust Minnesota. Keep in mind, they've got their own injuries, right? Anthony Edwards is questionable tonight for them. Look, Kyle Anderson's a game-time decision. They're still without Karl Anthony Towns, which is significant, considering, you've got Ayton probably playing for Phoenix. So, yeah, I get it, the money coming in on Minnesota. I'd probably take Minnesota before I take Phoenix in this game, but I'm not rushing to do it. This is a flaky, flighty Timberwolves team. I don't know if I've got enough faith in them. What do you think, Skee? Interesting game, Suns, Wolves.
Yeah, I would probably look towards maybe an under in this game. Neither team, both teams bottom 10 in pace the last 5 games. Suns offense has just been trash, other than that game they played versus the Warriors. So until they show me some kind of consistency in that department, until they get Devin Booker back in the lineup, they're missing damn near an entire team, or a lot of guys from the team, I'll just say like that. So I would expect less points, but at the same time, on the side perspective, I don't trust Minnesota to defend well enough to be, expecting them to win by margin. It has to be a great spot, and I don't see this being such a great spot for them. So I'll lean towards Phoenix, who in the last 5 games still has been the better defensive team and a better rebounding team. So I think they can keep it within the margin.
Say what you will about Phoenix. Look, I think the reason why Phoenix got destroyed by Denver was they just ran out of gas. They gave everything they could have in their tank against Golden State. They gave it their all against Golden State. They had nothing in the tank against Denver the very next night, and they just hit a wall. So keep that in mind. I think they'll play better tonight, this Phoenix, this B squad, if you will. And I joked about it Wednesday, but I still see it as hilarious to me. You wonder for the longest time, is Dario Saric even still fucking playing for the Phoenix Suns? Is he still even a member of this basketball team? And now all of a sudden he's playing 30 minutes a night the last few games because of all these injuries. Yeah, exactly. Well, he's making the most of it. He's actually not doing all that bad with this opportunity. What do you think here, Billy?
I agree with everything that you guys said. I feel like I kind of lean towards the Wolves early here in this spot, though. They're 6-2 in their last 8 home games, 4-1 ATS, last 5 overall. I think they're going to bounce back here. Their winning streak got snapped in their last game against the Pistons. This is a good bounce back spot. Historically, the Suns do kind of trend in their favor. They're 6-1-1 ATS last 8 meetings in Minnesota, 4-0 ATS last 4 meetings. But this is just a different Suns team right now. You're making money fading the Suns. So I'm going to lean with I think the Timberwolves trifecta hits, but I think the most reliable one is going to be the -1.5 first quarter.
All right, Timberwolves early for Billy in this one. Oklahoma City next up against Chicago. We got the Bulls 4.5-point home favorites, 234 the total in this one. Chicago Bulls, a team that, the last, I would say, week to 2 weeks, it's been better for them, although they hit a bit of a rough patch against Washington the other night, 197, lost to Boston before that, but did cover the number, getting 8.5, 9 in that game. So they're off 2 straight losses on the road and now looking to bounce back here at home facing the Thunder, who are on a back-to-back, by the way. They were in Philly last night, 10-point dogs, and they beat Philadelphia down 133-114 last night in that matchup. It looks like Pokusevski out for the Thunder, but everybody else should be in the lineup, at least as of right now. Chicago, of course, dealing with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine question marks. DeRozan doubtful for this game against Oklahoma City with the quadriceps issue. Zach LaVine was on the floor for shoot-around this morning, so it's probably increasing the likelihood of him playing tonight for the Bulls, but just this one's a really tricky game. I still have to lean Chicago a little bit because, they've still played better basketball lately, but I don't know if I can back them and lay points with them, no less, with no D squared. If he's doubtful, he's not playing. And of course, Zach LaVine is going to end up playing. But, laying points without DeMar, that's tough. That being said, OKC on a back-to-back after a huge upset win against Philly, that's not a bet on spot. So tough game, lean over, but it's a tough one for me. What do you think here, Skee? Thunder and Bulls?
I would probably expect more points than I know Thunder play up tempo enough. They're gonna, push the pace and try to get as many easy baskets, and they've been pretty efficient on offense lately. So between that and just how poor the Bulls are defending the perimeter, probably expect an over. But I think Zach LaVine, he's been balling lately. DeRozan, he's unlikely to play. So I think this is a good opportunity versus a mediocre defense for him to continue to go off. So over his 29.5 points seems like a pretty good play in this game to me.
No doubt. And I have a feeling Billy might mention something about that usage, and who's going to shoot the ball and have the rock in his hand a lot. DeMar isn't playing. With DeMar not playing, that's probably Zach LaVine. What do you think here, Billy?
I would say this is a good daily fantasy. Like for anybody that plays like FanDuel and DraftKings, this is probably one I would attack for daily fantasy. But from a betting perspective, nothing's really popping out for me in this one. I would probably say Josh Giddey over 5.5 assists. -134. He's covered 3 out of his last 5 games, and he's been streaking of recent, just playing good basketball, contributing in all categories on the floor. Shouts to Spenny Penny Bombs. He cashed a triple-double on him the other night. It was like +300. I mean, he's been putting up some pretty ridiculous numbers. I think this is a backwood, but you could have some fun with this game.
All right.
All right, next up here, we've got Orlando, Utah. Utah Jazz, 5.5, 6-point home favorites, 233.5 the total in this game. Orlando coming off a bounce-back performance against Portland, 109-106 on a back-to-back as well after a loss the night before at Sacramento. They went outright as 8.5-point dogs in that game. We'll see if they can carry that momentum forward. They've had 2 days off prior to this game, but so is Utah, following a 116-114 victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers in their last home game. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here going into this matchup. It is worth noting, last 2 times we've seen the Jazz favored at home, they lost outright to Sacramento and Miami. So here they are laying points. It's not exactly been a great bet lately for the Jazz. In fact, the last 5 times overall that they've been favored, 6 times rather, this team just 1-5 ATS in those games. So I like Orlando here, honestly, +6. I mean, I'm back on the Magic train. I'm very frustrated I didn't take them against Portland, but they were on a back-to-back. I was concerned about that after the no-show against Sacramento, but I think they've got enough here that they can keep this within 6 points. And obviously when you're going to play at Utah on the road, the fact you've had 2 days to basically hit a reset button, recalibrate, refresh, get a little bit of practice time as well, should help them. So I'm on the Orlando side here, +6. Skee, anything here? Magic, Jazz?
I don't like this game really, but I'll say I'm not laying points with the Jazz. They haven't been good as a favorite all year, so I don't want to put myself in that situation. And neither team is really playing defense lately, so I probably look more towards an over than under. That's all I got. Muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Utah, they've been trending over the total for sure. 4 straight overs for the Utah Jazz, 6 of their last 7, and even Orlando, 3 of their last 5 have trended that way. So points should be on the table here tonight. What do you think here, Billy?
I don't blame you for taking the Magic. I mean, I feel like the Jazz, even though they won their most recent game, they've struggled mightily since Christmas. I feel like they've just looked like dog shit, man. But they can still have the capabilities on any night being one of the best offensive teams in the league. They kind of match up well with Orlando with having 5 perimeter players. So I kind of want to stay off of this one. Jazz are 6-1 ATS in their last 7 meetings against the Magic, so I kind of want to stay off of this one. Maybe the Dabby Cab special, Jordan Clarkson over 2.5 3-pointers, but nothing really here for me in this one.
All right, we've got 2 games left. Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers, clip joint, 5-point home favorites now, up from 1.5 actually, 221, 222. The total in the George out is a big part of it, no question about that in terms of the move here, or he's out. Or this is not the move, I should say, on the Clippers, but the move against Denver has been because Nikola Jokic is out. Jeff Green also out for the Nuggets. Jamal Murray is a game time decision, although it looks like he's on the probable side of things with the ankle. So again, but the Joker absence is the main reason why we've seen all the money come in here for the Clippers in this game. Now they're up to 4.5, 5. And at the current number, I'm probably not betting the game. So it's a pass for me. Clippers probably win, but am I comfortable laying 4.5, 5? No, I'm not. What do you think here, Skee? Denver, Clippers?
I'll be looking towards the under in this game. Both teams bottom 10 in pace the last 5 games. And my bad. Let me grab my sheet here. It's the Clippers at the house. That's really what it is. They just continue to go under. Like, they've gone over 3 games out of 21. So until this starts to change, I just want to continue to ride it. So Clippers and Nuggets under is what I'm looking at here.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of lean Denver, but no Joker. But they've won 6 of their last 7, covered 6 of their last 7. In fact, they're 8-1 ATS their last 9 games. Denver Clippers have been bad, but the Clippers did finally snap the slide with that win against Dallas on Tuesday night, 113-101. And usually when a team that's on a losing streak, they snap the skid. I like to sometimes back them, to keep it going. They finally have some positive momentum, so that's why I'm off the game. Don't want either side in this spot. What do you think here, Billy?
I think there's a couple of props that you can kind of sneak out in this game. No Nikola Jokic, so Dutch and Skee and everybody else has been telling me about Aaron Gordon's been hooping this year, man. Let's see, is Aaron Gordon going to win me some money tonight? Because his double prop is plus 185, and I think there's a lot of value on that. His over 7.5 rebounds, minus 130. This is supposed to be a really good spot for Nikola Jokic historically for his rebound prop. So we're just going to slide him out, insert in Aaron Gordon, and hopefully Aaron Gordon leads us to some cash. I wouldn't mind Jamal Murray props, but the books are already on that. It's a little bit juiced. I was shocked to see Aaron Gordon's double-doubles plus 185. That's my best bet in this game.
All right, there we go. Good stuff indeed. All right, final game of this card, Houston and Sacramento. Didn't we talk about this game Wednesday? Oh, yeah, we did. That's right. The same 2 teams in the same place, 2 games in a row. Sacramento, 9.5-point home favorites, 238 the total in this one. Rockets and Kings. It looks like KPJ for the Rockets ruled out for this game with a foot injury. And keep in mind, he played in the game Wednesday night at Sacramento. That being said, he only played 10 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds. He exited that game early with that foot injury. So they clearly showed they could still, get things, they hung in there for a bit, but then the roof caved in on Houston after that. They lost 135-115. They were right in that game, and then the fourth quarter arrived, and bam, it just got away from the Houston Rockets at that point. I split with Houston in the over in that game. I mentioned it on Wednesday. I did like the Rockets plus the points, just straight going against Sacramento, laying a big number. And I also thought there'd be a lot of points in that game. I'd probably take a shot coming back with the same 2 bets tonight, honestly. Houston plus the points in the over. Look, I mean, is Sacramento going to be, just chomping at the bit, play this team again? You just destroyed them by 20. It's not like I trust them to do it again, though, in this game. So, yeah, Houston in the over. Like I said, I split with those 2 on Wednesday. That's the way I'd play it tonight if I get back involved with this game and these 2 teams for the second straight time. What do you think here, Skee? Rockets and Kings?
I will just look towards Şengün, and I played his points and rebounds last time, and it didn't cash because he got in foul trouble early, but he still ended up with a triple-double.
Bro, he was dropping so many dimes. I was like, what the fuck?
It was so frustrating. We all liked his prop that night. We all talked about it. Dutch did, Billy did, and I did on Wednesday. It's frustrating. I'd say go back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just right back on it, man. Points and rebounds, 23.5. Let me just see these numbers. He's averaging 26.8 versus teams who are bottom 10, points in the paint allowed. So that's what he's looking at again tonight. Hopefully he can stay out of foul trouble against the bonus. I know that's a tough ask, and get up and over.
All right. Yeah. Left my wallet in El Shengundo here. Like his props tonight for the Houston Rockets. Billy Briz, what do you think here, Houston, Sacramento?
I like what Skee's putting down, man, because I was a little when I was capping this game, it kept on popping up, and I was like, man, this is one of those ones where like the stats say yeah, but like my bank account got hurt on that one, so I don't know. I think, however, though, we can get ahead of an injury report here. I don't think KPJ is going to play. If you want to take a Jalen Green shot over 24.5 points, I don't mind that at all. But when it comes to the spreads, these double head-to-head spots lean towards the favorites heavily. Since they started scheduling these in 2020, the home team favorite has gone 25-5 straight up and 8-11-1 ATS in the second home game. And this trend has been only 3-2 so far this season, but I got to lean towards the Kings here, especially if I think KPJ is going to be out for this one. I mean, the Kings covered the last game and they got outscored 41-20 in that fourth quarter. I would kind of lean towards the Kings here and Jalen Green over 24.5 points. I don't mind the Sengun props, but man, dude, that one burnt me, man. That one burnt me.
It's just funny that every time we bring up that guy's name, I make the Tribe Called Quest reference. Left my wallet in El Segundo. We literally left our wallets in El Segundo the other night. We lost on the guy. There you go. We left. We left our money in that guy because his fucking props fell short. But nevertheless, I think it's right to look back at it tonight and get back in the prop category with him. Good stuff from Billy Briz and Skee Profit on this Friday edition of the show. Hit the like button. 222 live viewers. Let's run it up. Hit that like button. Become a Pub Sports Radio YouTube member as well. $4.99 a month, 18 cents a day. Perks, incentives. If you want more football contests, survivor pools, cash giveaways from the man himself, Jeff Slaughter, and many, many other incentives, get involved. Become a Pub Sports Radio YouTube member. All right, best bets coming up to wrap things up right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Southtown 101, and manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using the promo code PUBSPORTS. All right, best bets. Let's wrap it up. Final show of the week for the NBA Pub Hub. Skee Profit, we'll start with you. Skee, what do you like for best bet?
I'll go with Pelicans and Pistons. Pistons at home with a total greater than 220. It's gone over 13 of the last 17 times. We'll expect them to go over to 234 tonight.
All right, there we go. New Orleans, Detroit, over 234. Best bet for Skee. Billy Briz, what do you like for best bet?
Best bet for me, we are going to Washington, and we are taking the Knicks first half -2.5, -118. And top prop of the day, we're gonna give out a value one. We're gonna go Aaron Gordon double +185, and my guy Sean O'Malley approves.
There you go. Look at that Sugar Sean there, bobblehead. Wow, it's already that much of a big time fighter, huh? Wow, you already got the liking the New York Knicks first half and the Aaron Gordon prop there, Billy Briz, for best bets. My best bet, do you believe in magic? Yes, I do. Tonight, the Orlando Magic +6 against the Utah Jazz. I like it. I'm back on this team's bandwagon again. Good situation. They've had some rest. Utah's been bad as a favorite lately. I think Orlando, at the very least, competitive. Maybe even has a chance to sneak out the outright win. It wouldn't shock me. Orlando +6, best bet for me for this Friday card. That'll wrap up this edition of the show. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. Again, we'll be back Monday, OG Monday, with me, Skee, Dutch, and Wham. back on Monday to break it down here on the NBA Pub Hub. Connor Mack and yours truly, college basketball net profit at the top of the hour. And make sure you tune in to Dabby Cab, Razor Sharp, and Friends tonight, live bet stream. Later on tonight, I believe at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right before Michigan State and Illinois basketball, college basketball. So make sure you join them for that. All right, great stuff for Billy Briz and Skee Profit. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again Monday for a brand new week of the NBA Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio.